Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, we should be calling this the Where's John show, because look, you can see down into his studio. That's live. That's a live view. He's not there. Not there. Can't get the staff these days. Boys and girls, you can't get the staff. Don't forget to click that like button and click that share button. Come on, send us out to other people. You know you want to. Yes, you do. Oh, look, there he is. Observe the native Scotsman in his natural habitat as he decants from one bottle of water to another. Oh, well. Good afternoon, native Scotsman.
Good afternoon, native Englishman.
No, it doesn't sound good when you do it, see?
No, I'm not trying to do it. I've just got something in my throat.
Got a frog in your throat, have you, John?
Yeah. Well, I think maybe a bit of oatcake.
Oh. You were having a schneck, weren't you? Oh, look, he's muted himself so that he can die. Die quietly, John. That's right. Look, he's doing it again, taking another swig. There we go. Is he going to gurgle? Going to gargle? There he goes, yep. There he goes.
My famous gear-changing gargle. Okay. Look at the size of this Red Bull. That's a large one.
I got another one. Red Bull, if you'd like to sponsor me so that I don't have to buy these on 3 for 2 at Asda at the moment, then please do. I'll take free Red Bull. I'll take a sponsorship. John will have a go at you if you do, though, because he'll say, you're killing him. You're hurting his heart away. Something like that. Anyway, you've got something you want to talk about in this preamble, haven't you, John? And I'll put a little... Shall I put a visual aid up?
Yeah, put the visual aid up, mate. Put the visual aid up.
There's the visual aid.
Because you... Ukrainians, right? We need to get a voiceover artist to make us some jingles like Ukrainians. Anyway,
I could just do it.
Could you do it? Well, do it then. Tape it and send it to me.
Ukrainians.
Yeah, that's well, maybe a bit more gravitas and a bit deeper. Anyway, regardless of that, so this went up. There are no. In defense of you, retweeted this, right? They've since deleted it, but they did retweet it.
Right.
There are no children left in Ukrainian anymore. They have all got old eyes. But that picture's taken from a novel that was published in 2013 and has got fuck all to do with Ukrainian.
You mean like many of the pictures that the Defence of Ukraine put out?
Boom.
I mean, it's just normal. It's part of the course with that account. Let's retweet misinformation, lies, video games.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah,
well, that's what they do. That's what they do.
Propaganda.
And that's
and
why...
with that...
I'm not finished.
Sorry?
I'm not fucking finished, John.
Oh, well, fucking hurry up. Come on.
That's why
You're just too early to go on a rant. It's a preamble.
I wasn't going on a rant. I was just about to say, and that's why people like us, especially us, exist, to dispel the propaganda for you.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for attending this episode 181 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John, and with Ben, down there in his studio.
On fire! On fire!
Okay.
I was singing along to the intro song, John.
Yeah, okay, but I don't get to hear the intro song.
Oh. Sorry.
That was a bit creepy. But anyway, carry on.
Well, I don't know if this hat really suits me anymore. What do you think?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, so carrying on from the theme of the preamble, this powerful photo of 3 exhausted Tasmanian firefighters has gone viral. Well, twice it's gone viral. Because the second time it purported to be 3 exhausted Ukrainian firefighters, didn't it? And you notice?
Imagine that. Oh, Jesus Christ, boys, let's get down to Kiev. Zelensky's house is on fire, yeah?
Yeah. Remember, you have to look for something.
What? Oh.
You have to keep your eyes open for things.
Oh,
anyway, carrying on with that theme and an actual tweet from Defense of You.
Yes.
Okay. So, again, what's wrong with this picture? Now, at least they've taken the wall down to get the alleged missile in.
Yeah.
But where the hell do they get that Ukrainian glass? Because it just does not break, does it?
No, and I mean, it was the same with the shopping mall, wasn't it? Whew.
Yeah.
Where
do they... Well, I gotta get myself some of that Ukrainian glass. Look at it. The doors are glazed and still glazed.
Yeah. No.
Despite half the wall lying on the floor beside the glass doors,
yeah, but
and a big missile placed over the couch.
But it gets even worse, right? Because I'm circling an area on the left right now with the mouse. That's the window that it's clearly come through, and it's still intact.
Yeah, a Ukrainium glass. That's fantastic.
I mean, that's not even cracked. It's
I
not
know,
even cracked.
I'm telling you, that Ukrainium glass is just amazing.
I want me some.
Yeah.
Vladimir.
I don't think the wall's down. I think all they've done is put a pile of bricks in there.
All I want for next Christmas is for Vlad to hit me up with some of that for my house, because Jesus Christ.
Well, he can make a fortune selling indestructible, unbreakable glass. I mean, he really could. It's unbreakable. It's from Ukraine. It's the newest thing. It's glass, but it's unbreakable.
But I've got to be honest with you. This is better than bulletproof glass.
It's unbreakable. It's the best glass ever.
It's not even slightly cracked. Look
No,
at it.
it's not. It's not. I mean, look at all the door glass. It's all in one piece as well.
Lovely and
the
intact.
big pane of glass is in one piece. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible.
Oh, Vaughan says it looks like a torpedo, and we've got to take what Vaughan says at face value, because he was in the 69th Seaborne Battalion in Afghanistan, wasn't he?
No.
No, he wasn't. His tiny little brain he was.
He's just lying so that he appears better at Fortnite. Cause he
wasn't better last night, was he?
Who got the victory, John?
The one and only victory for Team Trash last night? Us.
The other two that are purportedly better than us, they was long dead, weren't they, John?
Yeah, they were long dead.
In fact,
Vaughan had been long dead twice.
Yeah. Yeah. But we persisted, and we won. And they get to leech off our victory because their characters now have nice victory crowns too.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. Right, where are we? What are we on to now?
We are moving on to the the title
Andrew
of the show.
Andrew Tate and Greta Thunberg.
It's fantastic,
isn't
it?
It's the biggest romance going, isn't it? I'm going to say it. The elephant in the room is, what about that sexual tension? Do you not feel it? I mean, really?
I do.
There's something going on there. I don't know if she wants to get it on with Andrew or if he wants to get it on with her. But I mean, well, let's face it, the guy does have his pick of
it's definitely the former, not the latter. I would say that.
You think she's gagging for it?
I think the only reason that someone like Andrew Tate would want to sleep with her is just to say, ha ha ha, I slept with Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, probably. And he would tell you. He would tell you. He would say she's not a fucking vegetarian either, because she eats meat.
But this video, right? I've seen people go, look at this video. He's got pizza delivered. He says he's got 33 cars, and there's symbolism all over his dressing gown, right?
Oh, for God's sake! I mean, he lives in fucking Dubai and Romania, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think people
There's symbolism everywhere in Dubai and Romania.
I do think people look too far and deeply into things sometimes.
It's this Q thing. They're still fucking hanging on to this alleged mythical frog that's going to save them, you know?
Yeah.
And it's never happening. The only person that's going to save you people is yourself. And people like Andrew Tate don't give a fuck about you.
No.
I mean, and quite rightly so. Why should he? You know?
I give a fuck about them, John.
Yeah, you might, but he doesn't.
No, of course he doesn't. All right.
Oh, might do. Then again, he might care, because he does tell us that the UK is fucking destroyed, and if you can't have any chance, get out of it. And I think he's right.
You know, I think he's right as well. And if you also think he's right, and you think we're right, then please leave a like on this video, because I can see a fair few of you watching it and not as many likes. Get on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll send the boys round.
So I mean, Greta went to the trouble of making up an email address, didn't she?
Was it small dick energy at whatever? Or getalife.com, I think. Small dick energy at getalife.com.
Getalife.com.
To be fair, Andrew poked this bear. He started this by showing a picture, I think it was his Bugatti, and going like, I have 33 cars, I'm gas guzzlers.
Yeah.
You know, and that could kind of backfire on him a little bit, to an extent.
Oh, right, okay. Well, where's it going to backfire, right?
Well, listen, right, because if he's got 33 gas-guzzling cars and he can only drive one at a time, then he's keeping 32 gas-guzzling cars off the road and out of the hands of other people. So he might be doing a public service for the Green lobby.
That's true, he might be. So that's not going to backfire on him, is it?
Well,
but anyway, who cares? I mean, the amount of emissions these cars put out is negligible. Yeah. I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, it's negligible, right? I mean, that volcano that burped in Indonesia has just put out more CO2 than the human race would in the previous 20 years.
Yeah.
So really, in the grand scheme of things, what we are contributing to isn't making much of a difference, despite what you may be told.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. The data is very clear. The data is very clear, not a model. The data. And, we go back to this because obviously Greta swiped back at him and said, oh, basically, you must have a small dick and stuff like that, right? Who cares if he does at the end of the day? He's fucking rich and he goes where he wants and he does what he wants and he takes the piss out of who he wants. And that's the position he's coming from. He's coming from the position of nobody controls me, unlike you, Greta. Nobody controls me. I do what I want. I say what I want. I go where I want. I mean, when he was last on Piers Morgan's show, he was just like, I've already told the pilots to fuel the jet because the second I'm done talking on this interview, I'm out. I'm out of this country. I'm out of here. Yeah. He's got a mansion in Dubai. He's got a mansion in Romania. He's got what everybody wants at the end of the day. And people will say, oh, I don't want that. Of course you do. Everybody wants that, right? And he doesn't care. Now, I found the response quite interesting because I've never seen such a large amount of bots go as hard as what I've seen here. So is she botting followers? Is somebody botting followers for her?
Well, the bot's still there then, that's the thing. Because, I mean, I know they are, because I just got followed by a bot this morning.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, yeah, the bots are still there, so he's still got work to do. And speaking of Elon, he hasn't been in the news much recently, but he put out a couple of tweets today and yesterday. And this one's good, because this was in response to Fauci's biolabs and the funding the NIH. The funding the NIH factually did apply to Wuhan. Right?
Yes.
Gain of function in this context is just another way of saying bioweapon. And this is where Elon and I do agree.
Yes, I agree.
Because I can see no reason to gain of function of any kind of human virus unless you want to weaponize it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And he says some good nuggets in article. Important to note that Fauci authored 2012 paper arguing for gain of function research. Obama wisely put this on pause, but Fauci restarted it. Now, obviously putting it on pause was wise, first of all.
He should have binned it. That's what he should have done.
Well, yeah, he should have binned it. He absolutely should have binned it. But like you say, I agree with Elon here. Gain of function it can be nothing, because all you are doing is creating something that has the capability to kill human life that did not have the capability to kill human life before. And why would you do that?
Yeah, and usually you're giving it that gain of function through means it would never get naturally.
So why would someone do that for any other means than warfare, weaponry?
Death and destruction. That's the only reason.
Because there's no other reason. All of the people doing it are obviously mad scientists, right? They're obviously crazy mad scientists, and I don't use that term lightly, but anybody that goes to work goes, oh, I'm going to create something that doesn't just have the potential, but is guaranteed to kill a vast number of people. You have to be pretty gone in the head to be doing that. Just my thought.
Yeah. And it'll probably come up in the Review of the Year show, but just remember, one of the first things that happened during the Russian special military intervention in Ukraine
was he destroyed the biolabs.
Yeah. Which were funded by the Pentagon.
Not all of them.
And that's a fact.
But yes, many were. Yes, that is a fact. And that was a fact that got you censored on Twitter at the beginning of this year.
Yes, it was.
Until it finally got admitted, a lot of what people have said on Twitter over the past 3 years has been factually accurate, has led to their censorship, and then some government organisation has gone, yeah, well, they were probably right. Or they were definitely right.
It's not just Twitter this has happened on. It's happened on every social media platform, and it's still happening. There's still things we can't talk about on YouTube.
But there's a difference.
We get banned.
I was going to say there's a difference between here and on Twitter, where we are also broadcasting right now. And if you are watching on Twitter and you want to get involved in the chat, then go over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Chasing Dissent Official. But at the end of the day, on Twitter, you can now say most of these things, and you can have that debate. Yeah. You can have that scientific debate. And I would say that in that course of things, Elon has held firm on his word, right?
Well, we'll revisit that later in the list. We shall.
Okay, so let's move on, speaking of the list, to this from GB News. Says, latest weather map showed a sudden stratospheric warming event could impact the UK in mid-January.
Remember, a stratospheric warming event means it's going to get really fucking cold here.
Yeah.
So we could be heavy snow forecast for mid-January? Mid-January, Ben?
Well, that sounds good. Isn't that when, isn't that slap bang in the good start of winter when you would expect to see snow?
Yeah, but where are you expecting to be in mid-January?
I've driven there in the snow before.
Yes.
It's good fun.
Heavy snow.
And if you're not subscribed over on our other channel, 100 Acre Swamp, you might want to follow along over there, because I'm going to post vlogs from my Going for a Drive, is what I'm calling the series. I'm going for a drive at the end of next week. The end of next week, I'm going for a drive. And if you want to come along for a drive with me, then I would really, really appreciate that. And we could have some fun together, and we could go for a drive. And if you'd like to buy me a drink while I'm away and going for a drive, you can do so with any of the links below, and I would really, really appreciate that. Anyhow, let's move on to friend of the show, Mark Changizi.
Yeah, I saw a couple of tweets from Mark yesterday, and one of them really triggered me. Mm-hmm. Not this one, the other one that I saw, which we don't have. It triggered me because it was a video of Mark and Little Mark. Little Mark is not a part of Mark. Little Mark is Mark's son.
Right.
Sitting in Little Havana, drinking and having a good time.
Mark, you've got money and we don't, right? You could always invite us over, is all I'm saying.
We need to relocate.
Well, maybe before even relocation, Mark, if you would like to do a proper episode of Chasing Dissent in person with us, you can always invite us over. We will come, won't we, John?
Yeah, we will.
We will.
Send plane tickets, please.
Send plane tickets and hotel rooms. We will come. God damn it.
So anyway, as Mark was saying, in what universe do the Democrats think Biden is their best choice, other than he's miraculously the sitting president? I think we're talking about the next election. Due to his age, you simply couldn't find a more weak, doddering and uncharismatic leader. Now, he's right. He's not wrong. Okay?
Yeah.
So, it's Dash Dabrowski, which is obviously a made-up name, says, I want to put an end to this false narrative about Biden. Hold on. Have you seen Biden on TV? Have you seen Joe Biden? Really? It's like, I've got two words for you. America is great.
Right, well, I can answer him here. He says his age is not a problem. Now, his age would not be a problem if he didn't have dementia.
Yes, it's not really his age, it's his other issues.
It's the Alzheimer's, John.
Well, did he defeat... Well, he did defeat Donald Trump by 7 million votes.
Allegedly.
Well, he did.
He did.
That's on the record. He defeated him by 7 million votes. He got more votes than any president has ever had.
I know, right? How astounding that.
Despite being below in the polls.
Fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, well done. I mean, Donald Trump got more votes for re-election than any president ever.
Yeah, and still Biden got more. And I think some states were even that desperate to get him in that they had more votes counted than they had registered voters.
I mean, we can't say that for sure. We can't say.
Are you sure we can't?
No, well, even if it were factually accurate, John, we can't on this platform.
Oh, okay.
We can't say that for sure, but you know, it's all anything's possible. That's all I'm saying. Anything is possible. But let's move on to President Biden, shall we?
Yeah, President Biden puts out his own tweet. Since the day Roe was overturned, I fought to protect access to reproductive health care, including taking bold executive action. Now, I don't think presidents should be allowed to take executive action except in extraordinary circumstances.
First of all, I agree with that.
Right. So what he's done is he's overruling states. Now, this is where I think America has started to fail dramatically, because
it's a republic. It's not a democracy.
It's not a democracy. It's a democratic republic.
It's a constitutional republic. Yeah.
Well, sorry, constitution, and it's a republic of states, right? So the federal government should have a very, very limited overview of what it can do, and that should basically be defense.
Correct.
And the states should handle everything else.
This executive order, read out some of the things that it does.
Access to abortion, including medication abortion.
What, for all states?
Well, that's what he seems to be saying. Access to contraception. The right to emergency medical care under the law.
Yep.
Providers and the clinics you rely on. I don't know what that means. Access to accurate information.
I mean, there's not been much accurate information about much coming out of many governments lately, has there, John? Let's face it.
And then the other one, privacy and sensitive health information. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just show your QR code, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, just show your QR code.
Tell me your status before you get into this country.
Yep.
Tell me your status before you continue in your job.
Yep.
Yeah, that's privacy. That's bodily autonomy. Yeah.
Look, let's face it. Let's face it here.
That's a fucking joke.
Let's face it here. The man's a doddering old fool, and let's also face it here. This executive action will not stand up to scrutiny. Now, am I supporting Roe v. Wade? I'm not. I'm neither for or against it. Right? I think it's their issue. They need to make of it what they will. Now, I am a bit against federal overreach over states' rules and laws, because the states are essentially, and this is how I see it, are meant to operate as independent countries, essentially.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And they have their own laws, they have their own rules, they have their own access to things or not. Now, there should be protections in place for life, as in, should you be wheeled into an A&E or an emergency room and they say, oh, sorry, your arm's falling off or your chest is falling out, and they go, have you got any medical insurance before we do anything? That should not be the case. Fix it.
Yeah.
They should fix it, and they should be forced to fix it. Now, I'm not against, I'm kind of against forced labour, which that ultimately would be, but you settle it at the end if the person lives or whatever, right? Yeah. You sort it out that way.
Life comes first. And then you can work the money out later. Exactly.
And that would, as far as I'm concerned, that would fall under protection, because protecting life is a good thing.
Yeah.
But to try and force the states to essentially provide things that they don't want to is it's a muddy area, and I don't think it will stand in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, there's too much overreach by federal government there, and there's too much overreach by federal government here. Well, even though this isn't a federally set up system, our central government has too much overreach. And when I say our central government, I include those clowns in Scotland and Wales, because they are, in effect, just arms of central government.
Yeah.
They're no different from central government. They don't provide anything. In fact, they're actually a hindrance to the two countries that they're meant to be helping, because all they're doing is leeching away more and more money, and and it just disappears because there's no accounting for it.
No.
There's just, especially in Scotland, there's no accounting for it. We're still waiting to find out where that missing 600,000 was. I think it's in that co-op carrier bag that Peter Murrell carries all the time.
I think it's in the ferries.
No, the 600k. No, it's not. It's never gone near the ferries.
It was a joke, John. It was a joke.
Yeah, but the ferries are wrecking billions in the hole. But this 600k has gone into somebody's pocket.
Yeah, of course it has.
This is another one of Father Ted's. It's just resting in my account. That's what this is.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's move on. That's right. So I'm going to countenance this with it's maybe not quite what she says, right? Now, the information is there that they should refrain from intercourse, but only for a period of time after they've just had it, right? But again, this is the problem. See, do not give people snippets of information that support your cause without giving them the full context.
Well, exactly. You're absolutely right.
If you want to support your cause, give them the whole context and let them make up their mind, because if further down the road they find out that they're being tricked and hoodwinked, they will consider you no better than the people that tricked and hoodwinked you on the other side.
Well, exactly, and that's why let's go back to what I used to do, right? What I used to do was going around those certain places with the cameras, and people would say, "Oh, you're selectively editing it to form your narrative." And so what I started doing was 2-hour plus live streams, because I wanted to give people the full context. And the full context was the narrative that I was portraying was absolutely correct, for one. But for two, you do have to take these things into mind. And you're absolutely right. They should be providing the full context. And still, they can place a warning upon the full context. You don't have to say this is definitely this or this is definitely that if the full context paints something slightly different or slightly questions what you are trying to say. You say we simply don't know. And because we simply don't know, we're going to have to tell you, we don't know, you don't know, they don't know. So perhaps you take that in as a form of information and you make a decision based upon that. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing to say you don't know something. We don't have the answers for all of this stuff. We don't have the answers for much. What we do have is the ability to point out BS, take it apart, and take the piss out of it, and then portray that over to you. And you don't have to believe us. You don't have to believe the field of context that we give. You go away, you look for yourself. You look from this source, you look from that source. I would say use something like NewsGuard, who collates sources from all over places. And NewsGuard, if you'd like to sponsor us, feel free. What?
I would say use something like ChasingDissent.com.
Yeah, but I would agree with you if we were actually updating that website other than the shop. Right? ChasingDissent.com/shop. Go get some merch. What? What?
Can you hear the rain?
It's not terrible. It's bad, but it's not terrible.
Right. So moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Right. So this was quite an interesting video because it's called All for Nothing.
Right.
And it's just basically a video. It doesn't start in these fresh dug graves. It starts in a proper graveyard with headstones and things with fresh dug graves, right?
Right.
And it just keeps going along until and it's just nothing but graves and graves and graves and graves and graves. And this is kind of, I was speaking to you about this yesterday, Ben. This is kind of about, this is what Russia does, right?
Yeah.
Now, Ukraine are saying they've killed 2,000 Russians since the 24th of December. That's what Ukraine are saying, right? Now, I don't believe that.
Even if I did believe that, that's not something to be celebrating. Killing other people is not something to celebrate.
But the problem is, Russia is a meat grinder, right? And that's how they operate. That's how they work conventionally. And the best estimates that we're finding just now from people who have spent their life in the intelligence service or who are deeply into this kind of thing is that Russia's working on something like a 10-to-1 ratio. Okay.
Which is not something to celebrate. It's a senseless loss of life on all sides for people.
Well, I haven't finished, but I'm not celebrating anything.
I didn't say you were. I'm just telling them.
You the facts. So a 10-to-1 ratio means for every one Russian killed, they've killed 10 Ukrainians. Yeah. Right. Now that's okay. It's not from a war perspective. It's not great, but that means if Ukraine are saying that 100,000 Ukrainians are dead, which is what they were saying, right? That means 20,000 Russians are dead. But best estimates are reckoning that maybe 200,000 Ukrainians are dead. And that means 40,000 Russians. Now, that's a lot of people on both sides. Okay? But that's on a 1-to-10 ratio. It might not even be there, because when the US was fighting Vietnam, I think it was something like 1-to-20. So for every one American died, 20 Viet Cong died. But America still lost.
Do you know what?
That was a completely different type of warfare, though. That was a total guerrilla warfare. But the thing is, the main point here is a lot of people are dying, right? And it's not getting reported effectively on either side. So the question is, why is Zelensky still thinking he's winning? And then if we move on to the next slide, why does he think that, why is he looking to rebuild now rather than win? Because there's nothing set in stone here. There's no obvious end to this conflict at this moment in time, because the Ukrainians will not countenance any kind of negotiation.
No, you're right.
If they're not going to negotiate for peace, why are they bothering to coordinate investment to rebuild the place with BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, who is possibly the most evil man in the world? I mean, it just gets better and better, doesn't it? It's like a recipe for how to really fuck up the world.
And then we can move on to the next slide, because this is kind of important as well, because Zelensky is heading over to Davos, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going for a ski trip, isn't he? I bet Leno hits the shops as well, doesn't she?
Yeah, of course she's got to hit the shops, John. She's got to spend our money.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's got to spend our money, right? 40 grand in one shop. That's more money than I get in a fucking year. And I don't get it, how they can convey such opulence and do something like that, and then just still have the world believe they're like some kind of darlings. We're living in a crisis, and I say that in inverted commas, right here in the United Kingdom, that has forced my energy bill up to £409 a month. We have our former Prime Minister Boris Johnson going, "Oh, turn your lights off to save some power for Ukraine," and then all of a sudden they're going out shopping in Paris, 40 grand in one shop, and I've got to show some humility for them.
Oh, of course you do, slave.
I don't understand it.
Hey, slave, be quiet.
No,
get back in your box. Do as you're told.
I'm sorry, John, but I'm not a slave. I'm not, as you said yesterday, I'm not a number. I am a free man.
Yeah, we'll see how free you are when your electricity bill remains unpaid.
But if I was actually going to say, John, maybe we should do a bit of crowdfunding in a month or two, right? And get some plane tickets for Davos.
yeah, why not?
Imagine us sitting and doing this show in the street outside a cafe in Davos.
Oh my God, we'd get arrested.
It'd be great, wouldn't it? It would be great. If you want to see us do that, then let us know. I don't know if Adam's here, but Adam could run a poll on YouTube or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you want to see us do that, then let us know, because we would consider it. We would consider it.
So moving on to the next part again.
Yeah.
We had Putin in his own words. So Putin's telling Russia that, I mean, I think I might have to do a video on this, because there's just so much around it about Russia and America and where things are going. So I don't think I'm going to go into it in deep depth here. But what I will say is Russia have got 150,000 new troops ready to hit the battlefield.
Interesting.
Okay, armed with the best technology that Russia's got, which is like T-90s, T-80s, revised and heavily modified T-72s. So and Russia's always had good tanks.
Right.
So they've got like 9 divisions worth of armor and people ready to hit the battlefield, because they've never gone to war yet against Ukraine. Remember that. This isn't a war yet.
Well, in their view, in their eyes, absolutely not.
This is not a war. This is a special military operation. and they do seem to have held back in order to preserve human life to a degree, to minimize collateral damage.
Right.
But if they go in with that amount of men and that amount of armor, then I think
they will wipe them out.
If that happens, the gloves are off, and that's when. And the whole thing is, as you would say, the whole thing is very nuanced because it depends on the reactions of the West, and America and NATO, and Europe in particular are very, very fucking. We need to teach Russia our lesson here, right?
Yeah.
But America's not, because America knows what it's like to be a superpower. And then get backed into a corner because America's been there before.
Mm.
So, I think I'll leave the rest of it for the video.
I think you should. And you know what? I look forward to that video. I do. I look forward to that video. Shall we move on to? Well, let's go to your neck of the woods, shall we, John? Let's head over. Let's head over to bonny old Scotland. Oi!
Right. So what Scotland? In their effort to be financially transparent, I nearly said it with a straight face.
Nearly.
God damn it, nearly. But anyway, they release all the information about their ministerial card journeys, monthly or whatever, showing how much they've spent, where they've gone and all this, except for Nicola Sturgeon's, right? Okay.
Well, now, that's a lack of transparency.
They do not release Nicola Sturgeon's card journeys, right? Mm. They keep that a secret because they said they were advised to by Police Scotland. Police Scotland, on the other hand, when questions say, we never said such a thing.
Of course they never said such a thing. It's just Nicola Sturgeon's probably using her publicly funded car to go more places than she should.
Yeah, right? I think that's exactly what it is. Because, and I think facts can back us up here. Nicola Sturgeon is both a liar
and corrupt
and a cheat.
As far as I'm concerned, she's corrupt.
Yeah, she is corrupt.
As far as I'm concerned. But what politician isn't?
Scotland's probably in the running for the top 3 of the most corrupt countries in Europe.
And speaking of a top 3, right, there seems to be a whole bunch of top companies that want to race themselves to the bottom, who are using... I don't even know if I will show it, because you've thankfully blurred it, but...
It's back to Larry Fink, isn't it?
Yeah. So what is going on? Why are these companies doing this?
I don't. Well, I think it's all down to Larry Fink and the rest of them. State Street and Vanguard, because they want to improve their ESG, and that's what this has led to. It's led. I mean, look at the ridiculous decisions that Disney made. Look at the ridiculous decisions that Netflix had made. Mm-hmm. It's this race to be woke is race to be broke, and Bal Cienga, or whatever you call them, they jumped on it first with her, and they maybe think it's happened cool to look like Satan worshipping,
child abusers.
But really, it's not big and it's not clever, and I think this whole how we touched on the drag queen story time. The whole thing is just like this race to improve your ESG score and look cool and happen and diverse. And
the question I have for you,
really, it's a complete breakdown of normal human values.
But the question I have for you is, these companies, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, they're all so powerful. They are powerful. Right? Mm-hmm. And what can be done about it in the face of that by someone like me, someone like you?
Exactly what happens with Netflix and Disney to a degree. You stop going.
Yeah.
You stop going there. You leave it in droves. You don't go to Benetton. You don't buy Balsienga. Well, not that you can afford it anyway, but you don't buy Benetton. You bin your Netflix subscription. You don't go to Disney. You do these things, and they suddenly go, oh, hold on, people aren't doing what they're meant to be doing. They're not coming to us. And then, Netflix is trying to turn that around.
Disney are also, trying to turn that around.
Although, the whole Bob Chapek thing is a bit creepy because
it's a bit sus.
The guy that's replaced them is the guy that actually put them in position where they were.
Put them on the road to woke, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see what happens with Disney, but I mean, look at the Little Mermaid. Did that not bomb?
It's not come out yet.
Yeah, well, I mean,
what
was the other one? What was the other one that they binned because they couldn't show it? The Marvel one.
No, that wasn't that wasn't Marvel. That was DC, and that was Batgirl.
Yeah, so that wasn't. That was, what was that? Universal or?
No, it would have been Warner Brothers.
And is that anything to do with Disney?
No. But Warner did make a Batgirl movie that's fully filmed, fully ready to go, fully edited. It's got Michael Keaton in it as Batman. It's got Brendan Fraser in it as a villain. And it was so bad that they will never release it.
Yeah.
They shot it. It was ready to go.
And there's a few films that have come out that should never have been released. Mm-hmm. That Cuties thing on Netflix, should never have been released.
No, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And it's a French film, that Cuties thing. Yeah, and I still don't quite understand why it was ever made, let alone Netflix backed it, released it. And
it's the French are perverts. I lived there.
So what you're telling me is when I go for a drive, when I go for a drive at the end of the next week, I have to worry about being perved on.
Yeah, of course you do. Oh, good-looking man like you. Sure got a pretty mouth.
I got a pretty mouth, and I know it. Yeah, I sure got a pretty mouth.
So, Andrew Bridgen. Andrew Bridgen. Let's move to him, right? So, what's happening here? The British Heart Foundation have dismissed the claims that it's covering up data. Mm-hmm. Okay. And he's been told to present his evidence.
Has he got evidence?
Be quite interesting. Well, if he's got evidence and he presents it, then I'd like to see the outcome.
I would also like to see the outcome. Remember, this man I think he was suspended for a few days for lobbying reasons.
But, for something completely unrelated to this.
Something completely unrelated to this, just conveniently at the same time as this.
Breach of lobbying rules.
Almost like it was done to shut him up. It didn't happen
at the same time. It happened ages ago. It just happened to... The punishment just happened to be applied at that time.
Just that, Yeah. Right. Yeah. Here we go. Let's move on to Mr. Musk. He made some pretty incendiary statements actually about the World Economic Forum.
And he denied being a member.
Yes. So he was on their website as a young global leader, YGL.
He was. Yeah.
And what he says on Twitter is they invited him to be a young global leader, and he said no, and they just put him there anyway. Essentially, he did it against his will. This is one of our young global leaders that penetrates the cabinets, penetrates the social media companies, and no, they just did it to him. And from this tweet here from Spiro, it says World Economic Forum removes Twitter from its how to follow page. What does that mean, John?
Well, it means they used to have a page that showed you how to follow the World Economic Forum on Twitter.
Right.
And they've removed that. They've removed Twitter. So they give you instructions on how to follow the WEF on Facebook and TikTok or whatever, but they don't give you instructions on how to follow them on Twitter anymore.
So do you think they're going to end up getting banned from Twitter?
I think there's a good chance.
Do you think they're going to end up getting fucking banned from?
Yeah, and they've kind of jumped before they were pushed.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Shalini says you cannot trust Elon. Why anyone thinks he's a savior or a good guy? Now,
sorry, have you confused them with someone that thinks that Elon is trustworthy?
I don't think anybody in a position of power is fucking trustworthy.
I mean, we have been banging on about not sure about this. We don't know what he's doing, and yeah, he makes good statements at times that you agree with, but he also does some stupid other things. But yeah, I mean, nobody's trustworthy.
I mean, I will say this
kind of position.
I will say this. I did use an incendiary sort of, a thanks for reinstating my account, but. Am I grateful for getting back an account that was banned for no fucking reason?
Well,
no.
Right, no, but right. But I can see the point of saying thanks because it wasn't his watch when you got banned.
No, true.
And things have changed under his watch.
Yeah.
So Twitter is a bit more like the Wild West. It is definitely a platform where you can have a discussion now. and
but
not
for how
automatically get banned. Well, we'll see how long it lasts. But you can have a full and frank discussion at the moment, and you don't get banned.
I mean, press the "that's true" button, because I can't deny that. I am able to say things that I would have got banned for before.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to the chat. Delivering Liberty says, Elon Musk yesterday, synthetic MRA has incredible potential. It's not something that I want to, agree with.
Well, I mean, I don't agree with putting chips in your head.
No, I don't.
That, and certainly not the monkeys, because I mean, see the clip, Space Monkeys mining the moon. That's where it's going. Telling you.
I think you could be right. Vaughan says, Elon will save us all. I can't wait to get chipped and have Twitter directly in my head.
Yeah, just as long as they don't put Fortnite in there, mate, because you shite at that.
Yeah, imagine he'd just be sitting there without a gamepad, just going, "We got this, boys. We got this, boys.
We got this, boys. We got this.
We got this, boys."
I feel he was right though, because he did say, "I feel good about this one, guys." Just as he got killed.
And then me and you went on and we did it, didn't we? We did it.
But anyway,
let's move on to. This is an interesting story. I've seen this from the Daily Mail. Sudden death of popular family doctor threatened by anti-vaxxers.
So you might not like the attitude I have towards this, right?
Go ahead.
So this guy has died at a young age, right? Of us. Suddenly, no cause given, right? Now, this is the guy who was administering treatments to children in Australia,
right?
And he got a lot of backlash off it, and he got threatened, and he broke down in tears when interviewed about it, and said he was only trying to help kids and stuff like that. And a couple of them had they didn't have adverse reactions. A couple of them fainted, apparently. Right, so the kids fainted, but they were fine, and he said, I kept in contact with them, I followed up, and he said there was nothing wrong with it. And it tells you all this in the article, right?
It's all relevant.
Yeah, well, it goes on and on and on about how badly he was treated by the anti-vaxxers, and it tells you nothing about how or why or what happened and why he's dead, right?
Well, no,
so the implication you get from this headline and reading this article
is that anti-vaxxers had something to do with his death.
Yes, that's the implication that they're giving you, but there is no evidence to support that.
And like I said, is even mentioning anti-vaxxers relevant? Is it relevant?
I don't think it's relevant at all. I mean, it's like me saying to you, right? It's like me saying to you it's like me saying that Ben died suddenly today. Right?
Yeah.
He had been in Asda 3 weeks ago, and he got an awfully bad time from the staff, who were calling him a fat sledge bearing blob bag, right?
Accurate, yeah.
Yeah, and he gave it back at them, but he really was upset about it over the last couple of days, and he's been talking about it, and he thinks they've treated him abysmally, right? And that's it.
Well, it's almost the same as me.
So, what did you die of, and where was the cause, and what has that got to do with your death? Fuck all.
Well, it's like the whole, I'm going to choose my words carefully here, but it's like died within 28 days, isn't it? It's like, I could have always, and I used this example a lot, I could have gone, I died within 28 days of eating a KFC. It was a chicken death.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the same relevance.
Look at the motorcyclist that literally lost his head.
Look at the man that fell off a ladder and broke his neck. Look at the man in New Zealand who was shot dead on his lawn. Shot dead on his lawn, but went into those statistics. Yeah,
well, within 28 days.
Within 28 days, but originally I think it was within 6 months to begin with. Then it was 60 days. Then it was 28 days. And none of these metrics were ever fucking relevant.
None of these metrics have ever been fucking used before.
It doesn't make much sense, does it? Unless you're trying to, ham something up. Because
because if you look at, remember, of the hundreds of thousands of people that died with, right?
Yep.
The actual figure was something like 12k.
Yeah.
In England.
And do you remember, I used to do it every Thursday.
12k.
I used to put up every Thursday the NHS's own data telling people exactly how many died from. Now, it was buried in the back of the NHS website, but they released it weekly. And it was in XLR format, I think, or XLR or XRP or XLS.
XLX.
It was in a format that cannot be read by many phones. Put it that way.
Yeah.
It was and it was almost purposeful, in my opinion, so that most people couldn't get it. And I put it out, and people had no answer for it. They go, "Oh, you're just killing Granny, just killing Granny." What, by telling you what the NHS are telling you? I'm killing fucking Granny. Jesus Christ!
That's like, see, this is the thing, and this is what used to happen on social media platforms. You said what the government said.
Yeah.
And you got banned for it.
Exactly! And I did get reprimanded. I got reprimanded on fucking YouTube, on the channel that I used to own. I don't own this channel. I have nothing to do with the ownership of this channel. And I got absolutely reprimanded for simply live streaming a place and saying this place is not full. Anyway, come on!
I know. I mean, it's like... And who does that benefit to keep this information secret?
Government.
Yeah, because it can't benefit anyone else.
No, and that's why I put out a plea this morning on my new Twitter, well, my old Twitter account, because I know it gets reach and I know it can get shares and stuff because of how many followers it has. And I directly appealed to Elon Musk. I want to be one of the journalists who gets his hands on the UK Twitter files. I want to do it because I believe if we look through them and we look through them properly, you'll find my name in there. I'm pretty sure you'll find my name in there.
Yeah.
I was targeted relentlessly over the course of the last 2.5, 3 years. And I guarantee you my name's in there. And that's not big-headed or anything like that. I was just inconvenient. And so were many of you. Many of you were inconvenient because all you wanted to do was be left alone. We just wanted to be left alone. Let us live our own lives. Let us make our own fucking decisions. And speaking of leaving people alone, let's move on to our next story because this disturbs me greatly. Let's move on. Tell us, John.
Right. Okay. So Labour has reaffirmed the pledge to fight structural racism amid disparity figures.
What is structural racism, and can you prove it exists?
No, I can't. I can't define structural racism, and I can't prove it exists, okay? Because I just don't know what they're talking about.
No.
They're giving you data that shows that black households are five times more likely to struggle to pay energy bills.
Right. Based upon
which
what?
is fine, right?
I mean, it's not fine, but what is
No,
it based upon?
Well, see, this is the problem. The data is fine, right?
Mm.
So they're saying one thing, right? But there's nothing to say what the reason is.
What is it? This is
right. I'll rephrase that. They're saying a fact, right? And then they're saying that the reason is structural racism.
Yeah, they're just making that bit up.
I don't know how that works. I don't know what structural racism is, and I don't know how to define it. And I don't know how it has effect on someone's ability to pay a bill. Are they saying that... I don't know what they're saying. I mean, they don't make it clear. Are they saying that black people can't work?
I don't know, but I want to...
don't want to work, get paid less benefits, get paid more, but I don't know what they're saying. This is the problem. So I don't know how Labour are going to tackle something that seems to be so fucking poorly defined that nobody has a clue why this occurs. I mean, this is like saying, black people commit... right, so when it comes to crime stats, right, black people get arrested more than white people.
Yeah, when you collate the size of the group versus the amount of arrests.
Yeah, by percentage, massively get arrested more than white people, right?
Yeah.
Black people get prosecuted massively more than white people for certain crimes, right? By percentage, by population. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
That's what happens, right?
But
that's racist, apparently, in this day and age.
Let me teach you a slight lesson about something, right? And I want to move this argument onto another fiction called the gender pay gap, right? The gender pay gap is an absolute fiction, and this can come into this as well, right? And this is my wheelhouse, right? This is what I'm qualified in, so I'm going to tell you how this works, because we have something that we've had for over 40 years in this country, and it's called the Equal Pay Act. It is illegal in the United Kingdom, and has been for over 40 years, to pay a man and a woman, a black person and a white person, a gay and a straight person, different money for the same role at the same level. It's illegal. It doesn't happen. It can't happen. It's not real. There is no gender pay gap in this country. The way that they lie to you and say that there is a gender pay gap, and I'll tell you exactly how they do it. What they do is they take all of the men in the workforce and add up all their wages. They take all the women in the workforce and add up all their wages. When the women make less than the men, they go, the men are making 50p less on the pound or 30p less on the pound than the men. It's not an accurate metric. It's not true. They're not directly comparing roles. They're not directly comparing skill set. If me and my wife went to go and get a cashier's job at Tesco's, we'd get paid the same, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you talk about highly skilled jobs, why do some men make a lot more money than women? There are a lot of high risk jobs. You know, cleaning the windows on a skyscraper. You've got to make a massive amount of money for that. And for the most part, women don't go for those jobs. Rubbish collectors, for the most part, women don't go for those jobs. Now, you could, but for the most part, they don't. And that's personal choice, that's personal thing. But pay disparity in this country based upon sex, race, religion, sexuality, it is illegal and has been for over 40 years. So I just, every time I hear this bollocks about these pay gaps, it's not true. It's simply not true. And they go, oh, but black people get paid like 20p on the pound to white people. That's because there's fucking 5 times less of them. And the way that you've done it is you've added up all of the money that black people make and all of the money that white people make.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing.
That's true.
You're right.
It's a lie. It is a lie that they tell you to make you angry, to appeal to your emotion. And it's not true.
But it works. It works.
Well, it does work.
80% of the sheeple out there will believe it.
Yeah.
And they'll think, oh, these people are getting a terrible turn. You know, they need more money.
Do you know what? I'm sorry. I think I've been quite animated this show, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot that's pissing me off. And let's go back to this structural racism thing. Because the only way that they are going to create equality is to discriminate against white people. Is to be racist. So
that's what structural racism is.
If you vote for that, you vote for racism. You vote for discrimination against somebody, telling them they can't have the job, they can't have the house, they can't have this, simply because of the colour of their skin. And then elevating up. And it's also the bigotry of low expectations, right? Telling black people or Asian people, oh, you guys, we need to help you because you can't help yourselves, right? We need to lift you up because you're just the poor this. It's bollocks. These people are racists. These people are sexist. These people are liars. These people need to just go the fuck away because this wokeism, the wokies, it's ruining society. It's ruining minds. And I'll quote Elon Musk, right? It is a fucking mind virus, and it's a lie. It's a lie. It is the most bigoted, hateful, sexist, racist thing you will ever see. Just my opinion.
Thank you. And with that opinion, apparently Britain has no plans to demand COVID tests from Chinese tourists.
Fine.
Which America have just announced that they will be. Along with Italy, India, Taiwan, South Korea, Malaysia and Japan. They are all asking for COVID tests for people arriving from China.
Well, that's because of the massive boom. And why should I care, is the question.
Yeah, right? But hold on. Do they currently ask for COVID tests from people arriving from Australia and New Zealand?
Well, no.
No. So why not?
Good question.
Because the rates in Australia and New Zealand are through the roof. Funny that. Because it's China!
China is asshole.
I mean, let's move back on, shall we? Let's move back on to Mr. Musk. I saw this tweet and I thought it was
Right,
funny.
so this is where Mr. Musk and I agree again.
And once again, this
okay?
is the woke mind virus at work in a meme. That's what this is.
Yeah. So Musk tweets out before he puts out the meme. New Twitter policy is to follow the science, which necessarily includes reasoned questioning of the science. Now that's 100%. I got to agree with that, and it's something I've always said.
Yep.
Science is never